คุณกำลังรับฟังสถานีวิทยุกระจายเสียงอัตตันเรดิโอวิทยุเพื่อการศึกษาของชาวนราธิวาสจากนี้ไปขอเชิญท่านติดตามรับฟังรายการอัตตันติวเตอร์สาระภาษาอังกฤษดำเนินรายการโดยที่เชอร์เดวิดค่ะ
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome back to our English lesson on the radio. My name is Teacher David and I thank you for tuning in to Attan Radio today. Thank you for joining the show. In the lesson of today, we will look at a topic that all learners, both beginners and intermediate students, often find a little confusing. Articles in English.These are the small words the, and sometimes no article at all, which we call the zero article. Even though they are tiny words, they play a big role in helping listeners understand which thing you mean. Are you talking about any dog or a specific dog? Are you talking about water in general or the water in this bottle?By the end of today's lesson, you will understand how to choose the correct article in most everyday situations. During this lesson, I will give some clear explanations. I will speak slowly, I will give you lots of examples, and I will leave pauses so you can think or even repeat after me. Okay, let's begin. In part 1, we're looking at the difference between and un.Now, we start with and un because they're usually the easiest to differentiate. What do and un mean? We use and un when we talk about one thing and when that thing is not specific. And un are also called indefinite articles because we're not talking about specific things. Often you don't know what you mean when you use the article or un in front of a noun. For example, I saw a dog on the road. It means one dog, but you don't know which dog. Or she wants to buy a pencil. Again, any pencil, not a particular pencil. These articles are used with singular, countable nouns.We cannot say a water or an information because those nouns are uncountable. I'm going to talk about that later. Now, and un, when to use which one depends on the sound of the first syllable of the noun that follows. We use before consonant sounds and un before vowel sounds.Let me give you some examples. We say, for example, a book, a camera, a teacher, a young boy, and a university. Even though the U is the first letter of university, the sound is U. So we start with, in Thai you would say a yo-yak sound, U.So therefore we say a university and not an university. But words using the article un are an apple, an egg, an elephant, an old house, and an hour. And for hour, the word starts with an H, which is a consonant, but we still use un instead of a because the word hour has the H, but the H is silent. So, because it's a silent H, the word hour starts with the sound ow, and ow is a vowel sound. Now, I'm going to give you a few words, and you should try to say or un before them. I'm going to leave a short pause. Word 1, umbrella. Word 2, banana.Word 3, idea. Word 4, hotel. And word 5, MRT station. Okay, did you get all 5? Now what is the correct article to use? The correct answers are an umbrella, a banana, an idea, a hotel, and an MRT station. Yes, the word MRT station, which are stations that you can find in Thailand, it starts with the letter M, right? MRT. But M makes the sound of E. It starts with an E sound, and E is a vowel sound. So we say an MRT station. But it's a station, but an MRT station. Or a BTS station. So if you want to say BTS station, you must use the article a, because B is a consonant sound, whereas M is a vowel sound. Okay, so it's about the sound. That's what's most important. We don't care about the letters that follow, about the noun that follows. We care about the first syllable of that noun. What sound is it? Is it a vowel, sara in Thai, or a consonant, payan chaya? Okay, so that's what determines if we use a or an. Now, we also use a or an the first time that you mention something. When we talk about something for the first time, we use a or an in most cases. For example, I bought a shirt yesterday. We saw a strange bird in the tree. My friend has a problem with his phone. Later, when you continue talking about it, you switch to the. I bought a shirt yesterday and the shirt was cheap. Okay, now in the second part of this sentence, you know what shirt you're talking about. Okay, or people who listen to you, the listeners, they know what shirt you mean. You say, I bought a shirt yesterday, then we have established that shirt, and then you can talk about the shirt with the article the, which is a definite article. The shirt was cheap. Or we saw a strange bird in the tree, and the bird had bright red wings. The bird. My friend has a problem with his phone. The problem is the battery. Okay? So that's when you use the or the definite article in English, because now you know what noun is meant. What shirt, what bird, or what problem. Okay, so then we can use the. Now we will practice this again in a later section. Okay, number 4. When do you use a or an? Okay, as opposed to the. We use a or an for jobs and roles. The rule is very simple. We use a or an in case the noun is a job, a profession, or a role. For example, I am a teacher. My sister is an engineer. He wants to be a pilot. She dreams of becoming an actress. He works as a driver. Okay, so in those cases, we're talking about any kind of profession. We use a or an. Okay, and we use a and an depending on what the first sound of that word is. Okay, so a teacher, an engineer, a pilot, an actress, and a driver. Okay, quick practice round. I'm gonna say a short phrase, and you will say a or an. Then I will give you the answers. Okay. First, word 1, elephant. Word 2, big house. Word 3, interesting movie. Word 4, university student. And word 5, honest person. Of course, I say word, but I mean phrase, because most of these words are actually two words combined into one phrase, like big house. Well, we started with the word elephant. That's a single word. Of course, it's an elephant. Okay, we're still using only a and un. Remember? Big house. Big house. A big house. It's an house. It's a house. It's also a big house. It's not an house. It's an hour. But in house, the H is not silent. So you say a house, but also a big house, because big starts with the B sound, the B. Number 3. It's a movie. However, if you put the adjective interesting in front of it, it changes into uninteresting movie. Uninteresting movie. Because interesting starts with I, which is a vowel. Okay, Sara I. Uninteresting movie. A university student. And an honest person. Honest starts with an H. You write it with an H, but you don't say the H. It is silent. So it's an honest person. Unhonest. You can just say it as if it's one word. An honest person. Alright? So let's move on to the. When do we use the definite article the? It's the only definite article in English. Some languages have more than one definite article. Excuse me. Some languages have more than one definite article. For example, the language German has der, die, and das. So 3 different definite articles. And if you want to learn German, you just need to learn for each word what definite article to use. Is it der, die, or das? But in English, there's only the. So English is very simple when it comes to the definite article. And definite articles are used for specific things. And those can be singular, only one, or plural, more than one. Okay? When do we use the instead of a or an? We use the when both the speaker and listener know the thing, when they know what you're talking about. For example, please close the door. You know which door. Can you give me the pen? Probably it's a particular pen that both people can see. I saw a dog. The dog was very friendly. The dog. The first time is a dog because you saw a dog in general. You don't know what kind of dog that was. But the second time is the dog because now the listener knows which dog. Alright, we talked about that case before. We also use the when something is unique. There's only one of something. For example, the sun, the moon, the sky, the earth, the prime minister, the equator, the internet, and the weather. Notice with some of these words I used the instead of the because we often use the instead of the in case of the noun starting with a vowel, like earth. You can say the earth, but we can also say the earth, and it means the same thing. But because earth starts with a sound, you can make it the earth. That combination differentiates the article the and the noun earth more from each other. So the earth or the earth, it's both correct. And the same thing is true for the word internet, the internet or the internet. Equator, the equator or the equator. Alright, so normally we use the instead of the only in cases where the noun starts with a vowel instead of a consonant. Okay, but forget about the I will try to use the more in during this lesson. Okay, I'm gonna give you a quick test. I will name an object and you decide if it's unique. Remember, unique means andiao. There's only one of it. Ocean. Is ocean unique? Not really. There are multiple oceans, so it's not really unique. So you can say an ocean. You don't have to necessarily say the ocean or the ocean. Classroom. It's not unique. Okay, a classroom, the classroom, depending on the context. Universe. Well, universe is unique. There is only one universe, so you should say the universe, not a universe. Okay, there you can only say a universe if you are sure that we are living in a multiverse, that there are more universes out there. But since we suppose that there's only one universe, we say the universe. What about President of the United States? Well, there have been many, but in the combination President of the United States, we mean the current president, President Trump. So we say the President of the United States. Okay? You can say, oh, a president in the past. A president of the country in the past. But when we talk about President of the United States, we clearly mean it's a unique person, the president. Alright, what about ocean? Well, ocean can be unique or not, but universe is unique and President of the United States is certainly unique. Okay, but you can say an ocean. Normally we say the ocean because we normally mean an ocean, but ocean in general, there are multiple, right? We have the Pacific Ocean, the Atlantic Ocean, the Indian Ocean, so ocean is not really unique. Okay, but opinions differ on that one. Okay, we also use the definite article, for things that are already clear in the situation, if we know what we mean. Okay, the person that you're talking to. Remember, language is all about communication. When you say something, you don't say it to yourself, you say it to someone else. For example, turn on the light. The other person, the person that is listening to you, well, hopefully they're listening, but they need to turn on the light, and they know which light. Okay, it can you can say, oh, which light switch, but no, the light. By the light we mean the light in the room. I left my keys in the car. The other person knows which car. Okay, there's just the car that you have. Or she is waiting at the bus stop. The bus stop, the other person knows which bus stop. Okay, it's clear. Even if it's the first mention, you don't have to precede it with a somewhere. Even if it's the first mention, the listener knows which one you're talking about. Okay, we also use the for superlatives and ordinals. Superlatives are words that express the biggest or the smallest. In general, in Thai you would say T-sud. Okay, for example, the biggest, T.I. T-sud. Okay, Kong T.I. T-sud. Or the smallest, Kong T-lek T-sud. Okay, the biggest, the smallest, the most expensive, T-pang T-sud. Or the first time. Okay, the first time is an ordinal. First, second, third, those are called ordinals. First time, the second floor, the best way. The best is also an ordinal. We can say the best, it's a superlative, but we can also use it as, it's a superlative. It's not an ordinal. It's not a number. Alright, so in the case of, we can say the best or the best way? The biggest or the biggest school? The smallest or the smallest meal? But no matter what, when we use those superlatives, we use the and not a. We don't say a biggest because there's only one. There's only one which is the biggest. There's only one which is the smallest. Therefore, we use the. Now, another case where we use the is geographical names. This is very important. We use the with rivers. For example, the Chao Phraya River. For seas, the Andaman Sea, for example. For oceans, example, the Indian Ocean. Okay, so we use the, you can talk about the ocean or an ocean, but when you talk about a specific ocean, you say the Indian Ocean or the Pacific Ocean. Now also we use the for mountain ranges. For example, the Alps or the mountains in Thailand. I'm not sure. You have the Doi Intanon. But usually you would just leave it out. You would not use the when you talk about Doi Intanon. Okay, but for a mountain range, the Alps, the Pyrenees, the Rocky Mountains, we use the. Okay, because we refer to that particular one. We know which it is, which Alps it are, which Alps they are. There's only one mountain range called the Alps. Also groups of islands. For example, the Philippines, or in Thailand, the Similan Islands. Okay, the. For deserts, we also use the. Now, which is the biggest desert in the world? It's the Sahara. Okay, so we say the Sahara, or the Gobi Desert, the Sahara Desert. Newspapers, the Bangkok Post, the Nation, the New York Times. Okay, newspapers, they used to come just on paper. Nowadays they also come in digital format, but we still use the. Okay, the Bangkok Post is a website that I regularly read online. I never use the paper version of the Bangkok Post. I'm not even sure if there is still a paper version, but when I read the website, I read the website of the Bangkok Post, not of a Bangkok Post. No, there's only one. Hotels, we say the Hilton, the Mandarin Oriental, the Dusit Thani. Famous buildings, the Eiffel Tower, the Taj Mahal, the Grand Palace, the Wat Arun, okay, the Masjid Klang, the, for famous buildings. But we do not use the for most countries. For example, Thailand, Malaysia, Japan, no article there. For cities, Narathiwat, Pattani, Bangkok, no article. For lakes, we don't use the. Lake Victoria, not the, Lake Victoria or Lake Superior, those are lakes in the US, or Lake Baikal, which is a lake in Russia. Is there a lake in Thailand? I think we have Lake Songkhla, and we don't say the Lake Songkhla, we say Lake Songkhla. So for lakes we don't use it. And also single mountains. Remember, for mountain ranges, like the Alps, the Himalayas, we use the. But when we talk about just one mountain, for example, Mount Everest, or Mont Blanc. Mont Blanc is a mountain in the Alps. We don't say the. Okay, Mont means mount, but in French. Okay, and even the French people don't use an article there in their language. Okay, I want to do some practice again. I want to involve you more. So I'm going to read a sentence, and you need to think about the article. Okay, so I'm going to read the sentence, and then where there's a blank, I will say blank, okay, and on the blank should come an article, either the or nothing. And nothing, we call that the zero article, but it's basically the lack of an article. Okay, sentence number 1. She climbed blank Mount Kilimanjaro. Number 2. They visited blank Netherlands. Number 3. He crossed blank Mississippi River. Number 4. She read blank Bangkok Post. And number 5. We swam in blank Pacific Ocean. Alright? So you just think Mount Kilimanjaro, number 1. It's a mountain, no article. Mount Everest, Mount Kilimanjaro, no article. She climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. That's it. No the. However, number 2, Netherlands, that is a country. It's the country where I'm from. And for a country, we should use the in this case. Not all countries, but most countries. Most countries don't have the, but some countries have the. The Philippines, the United States, the United Kingdom, and it's also the Netherlands. Pratet Nederland. In English, it's the Netherlands. Alright, so don't forget that. Also, you can see Netherlands is plural. It's not Netherland, it's Netherlands. Just like it's not Philippine, it's Philippines, plural. Therefore, you have a case for using the. Okay, I'm sure there are more countries like that. There is a country, a small island nation called Saint Vincent and the Grenadines. And you also use the in front of Grenadines because it's Grenadines, plural. Alright, that's a very small country. Most of you will have never heard of it, but some might have. There are more countries with that use the, because it's basically, in many cases, it is a group of islands. It's what we call an archipelago in English. So the Philippines, that's a country which is made up of a bunch of islands, and those islands together are called the Philippines. Well, the Netherlands is not an island nation. However, the country is made up of lower lands. So it basically means lower lands. And well, you can see Netherlands, it ends in an S, so no discussion, the. Okay, let's go to Mississippi River. A river, we use the Mississippi River. Number 4, I talked about this before. She read, past simple, the Bangkok Post. Not she read Bangkok Post, no, the Bangkok Post, because it's a newspaper. It's a media company. Okay, nowadays we would call it a media company. And number 5, Pacific Ocean. It's a Pacific Ocean, the Pacific Ocean. Okay, we swam in the Pacific Ocean, not in Pacific Ocean. Okay, so don't forget the article there. Okay, so think of 3 things in the room around you, wherever you are. If you're inside of a room or outside, think of 3 things and decide if they need the or not. Okay, do they need the? For example, what's in a room with you? A chair. Is it the chair? Or a chair? Or an chair? Okay, you need to get the feeling for this. What else is in your room? Okay, think of 2 more things and decide if they need the. Excellent. Now let's talk about times when we use no article at all. And no article, like I mentioned before, we call that the zero article in English. Okay, let's go through the main cases. Case 1, plural nouns used in general. For example, dogs are friendly. We're talking dogs in general. Okay, not specific dogs, but dogs in general. Okay, any dog. Okay, we don't necessarily mean all dogs, but in general, dogs are friendly. Okay, we can discuss it. I would rather say cats are friendly, but but some people would say dogs are friendly. Computers are useful. Very much so. Teachers work very hard. Bananas are cheap in Thailand. Okay, they are not specific things, they are just general things, general statements that we can make. Case 2, uncountable nouns. Uncountable means you cannot put a or an in front of it. For example, rice is my favorite food. Rice is my favorite food. Rice is a singular, it's not singular, it's not plural, it's uncountable. You cannot say a rice. Sugar is sweet. Information is important. Money cannot buy happiness. Those are all uncountable nouns. Rice, sugar, information, money, and we don't have to put an article in front of them. Case 3, meals, days, or months. For example, we say, I eat breakfast at 7. She has lunch at school. We will meet on Monday, day of the week. They visited me in December, a month. Okay? They visited me in December. Okay? It is now December. Okay? It is now the 1st of December. And December is the last month of the year. Okay? So no article for December or any month in general, any day of the week, or also for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and in Malaysia we also have supper, but in Thailand we don't. So, but of course, supper doesn't get an article either. Case 4, languages, subjects, and sports. They don't get an article. For example, she speaks Thai and Arabic. They study math and biology. He plays football. She is learning English. But if we describe the language, we use the. So, the English language. The Thai alphabet. The English language, the Thai alphabet. Alright, because we mention we mention the language not just as a word by itself, as a noun, like English, but the English language. And we don't say Thai, but we say the Thai alphabet. Okay, so in that case we do use the, because English and Thai here are adjectives instead of nouns. But if they're used as nouns, they don't get the. Case 5. Most countries and cities don't get the. I already mentioned it. Thailand, Malaysia, France, Japan, Narathiwat, Hat Yai, Chiang Mai. Those don't get an article. Also, case 6 then. Certain places used for their purpose. When you use the place for its main function, we drop the article. For example, he is in school. She is in hospital. Though usually for that one I would say at the hospital. But you can say in hospital. But it just sounds a bit funny. But when you say he is in school, you mean he is a student. When you say she is in hospital, you mean she is receiving treatment. You're not referring to a particular location. Just more that she is a patient. He is in prison, meaning he is a prisoner. He is in the Ruan Jam. or she is in bed. She is in bed, you can say when you mean that she is sleeping. She is currently sleeping. She is in bed. No article for bed. But we use the when the place is not used for its usual purpose. I visited the school to meet the principal. He went to the hospital to see a friend. She sat on the bed while reading. Alright, a short practice round. You may decide. No article, the, or a, or an. Okay, now everything comes together. Final exercise here. I'm gonna read the sentence. I'm gonna read the blank and then the other words. Alright, so I'm gonna, the missing word, I'm gonna read as blank. And then you must decide no article, the, or a, or an. And if it's a or an, decide which one it is. Alright? Is it a or an? Okay, sentence 1. Blank, water is clean. Blank, water is clean. And this is a general idea. Okay, so in general. Blank, water is clean. Alright, so I'm going to give you the answer right away. It's a general idea, so we're not talking about a specific body of water. We're talking about water in general. No article. Water is clean. That's it. Water is clean. So the blank is empty. It's a zero article. Number 2. This is blank best day ever. This is blank best day ever. Okay. What is the blank? Is it nothing, the, a, or an? This is the best day ever. The best day, superlative, best, the best day ever. There's only one day which is the best ever, and that is now the best day ever. The is correct. Number 3, he studies blank English at blank university. Now this one has 2 blanks. He studies blank English at blank university. Now the first blank is empty. He studies English. It's the English language, but we don't say the English language here. We just use the word English. He studies English at, and now, yeah, now it's, of course, you can say at university. He studies English at university, but I would say he studies English at the university. But it, I think, correct here would be with a zero article. But this is open for debate. Or you can also say a. Okay, if we also take a or an, we can say a university. He studies English at a university. Number 4, blank students love weekends. Do students love weekends in general? Sure. So use a blank here. Students love weekends. And finally, number 5, she saw blank strange bird in the garden. Do we know which bird? No, we don't. She saw a strange bird in the garden. Here we must use a. Alright, so that's it for today. I think that's enough. I could continue, but I think now you get the idea of when to use which article. And perhaps another time I'll continue on this topic, or I'll pick a different topic. Next week it's probably going to be teacher Leo, who is going to be the presenter of this show. So for today I want to say thank you for tuning into Atan Radio. I am teacher David, and it was my pleasure to present the show this weekend. Have a nice day. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi